Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. There's 3 matches left in the 2026 World Darts Championship, 2 semifinals and the final. Semifinal number 1 is Luke Litler versus Litler Searle. Semifinal number 2 is Gary Anderson versus Gian Van Veen. All 4 are in pretty good form at the moment. The loser of these semifinals gets £200,000. The winners get a minimum of £400,000, and if they win the final, they get £1 million. The format for the semifinals is best of 11 sets, so first to 6 sets. Semifinal number 1, Litler vs. Searle, tournament stats comparison. What I did was I took round 1 through the quarterfinal stats, put them all down for you for each player, and then the averages are on the right in yellow. I also did a head-to-head comparison on the right if you just want to look at the tournament average stats. Let's go through that quickly. 3-dart average, Litler has 5 points higher. Opponent average for each player, 6 points lower for Searle, which means he's had a lot easier of a ride getting to this point. Even looking at the game today against Johnny Clayton, Clayton came out hot, but he couldn't hit his doubles. He only averaged 93 versus the 97 for Ratoski today. Clayton really didn't put up much of a fight, missing all those doubles. It's going to be a different beast with Searle trying to outscore Litler because he's not going to. What has been keeping Searle going in this tournament so far has been his checkout percentage, which is above 50%. But guess what? Luke Litler also has above 50% checkout percentage. It's even higher than Searle's. Looking at 180s and 180s per leg, he's almost got 3 times as many as Searle. So Searle's going to be outscored and possibly out-checkouted, if that's a word. So he's going to have a tough time. Litler is going to have to be playing his B game, and Searle's going to have to be on his A game in order to win this match. So let's take a look at the set-by-set stats for each player from their quarterfinal matches today. Litler played Ratoski and beat him 5-0. He broke his set 3 times and held his own set twice. Littler averaged 118 in one set. Just looking at these numbers, 180s hit and went first set 1, then 2, then 4, then 3. And then I think he took the foot off the gas a little bit, but it's almost like he's warming up a little bit. It's kind of the opposite for Searle if you look down at his numbers against Johnny Clayton today. Looking at that 3-dart average and opponent average, they both start out hot, but then look, they both drop down to 93 and 91, then 90 and 93, then in the 80s. And then Searle in set 5 is still at 85, then got kind of worse and worse, and then finally had one good set at the end and beat Clayton. But it was kind of like he was just picking up scraps throughout the match with Clayton, with him missing so many doubles. The only thing that held him together really is the checkout percentage again. He's a solid player, but he was averaging 86, 85, 86. It's not going to hold up against Litler. Litler starts off slow with a 96 average, and then he goes up to a 107, a 118, and then back to 100. I think when you're playing first to 6, Littler's going to get into these spells where he's just going to pop off on Searle. My guess here is going to be between 6-1 and 6-2 probably for Litler. All right, on to the next match. Anderson versus Van Veen. Same chart here. Let's take a look at the table on the right here. You'll notice that there's a lot more blue on this table, meaning these stats are fairly similar for each player. The only 2 discrepancies here are the checkout percentage for Van Veen is a decent amount higher, close to 50% versus Gary's 38%. And then Van Veen's only lost 5 sets versus Gary's 9. So it seems like Gary's a little bit more vulnerable due to his missing doubles. Even 180s hit, Gary has more, but it's probably just because he played more legs. He's played 121 legs total versus the 96 legs for Van Veen. So the 180s per leg is the same. There's really no difference there. Both of these players have been very solid. They've both played very hard players, and they've both played pretty well. Let's look at the set-by-set stats from their quarterfinal matches today. Gary Anderson played Justin Hood. I was kind of rooting for the kid, but Gary ended up taking it down 5-2. One thing I noticed off the bat, every time Gary started off the set, he won 3-0. So he held his throw, broke, held his throw, held his throw, broke, held his throw, etc. He was only broken 3 times by Justin, and those attributed to both Justin's wins. And then if you look at Gary's stats for the last 3 sets, he went to 104, 112, and then 107. He just popped off. His 140s really went off in that 5th set, and then kind of translated to a few 180s in the 6th, and then 5 140s in the 7th. took it down 3-0. Pretty good match. He didn't hit a lot of 180s, which is what I think kind of held him back a bit on his scoring. So let's take a look at John Van Veen, who beat Luke Humphries 5-1 today, which is absolutely crazy. The match was awesome. He didn't let up once on Luke, and he made him pay every single time. Every 2-dart out, when Humphries left another 2-dart out, he took out every time. His finishing was awesome. Let's take a look at the checkout percentage here. Yeah, his lowest was 43%. He was 50, 60, 50. Looking at his 140s and 180s in set 4, 5, and 6, it's almost like he started warming up after set 3, and then he started popping those in. It's kind of like the same thing that Litler has, where he warms up and then he starts getting into a great rhythm. You sort of see that with Gary also, but not with Searle. So this match is going to be a little bit closer, I think, because both of them are going to be getting warmed up and then sort of popping off. I think it's really going to come down to the finishing, because they're both scoring great. And Van Veen has the higher checkout percentage throughout the tournament. He's 12% higher. So I think that's what's going to give him the edge here. And I'm going to say 6-5 Van Veen. That's my prediction. Let me know what you guys think about these picks, and enjoy the stats. Have a good one.